Welcome to my channel HFY Universe. You dare look at me? The entire royal chamber froze. 1,000 alien nobles lowered their heads instantly. Guards reached for weapons. Even the towering warlords near the throne stepped backward. Because nobody looked directly into the eyes of Empress Vealora. Nobody. Not if they wanted to live. Yet one human smiled. And kept staring. The silence became unbearable. The Empress slowly rose from her throne. Silver-black armor shimmered beneath the crystal lights. Her glowing violet eyes locked onto the human standing alone in the center of the court. "Did you not hear me?" she asked. The human's voice remained calm. "I heard you. Then why are you still looking at me?" A dangerous smile touched his lips. "Because you're beautiful." Several nobles gasped. One fainted. A weapon clattered onto the floor. For 300 years, no one had spoken to Vealora that way. Not because she wasn't beautiful. Because every species in the galaxy feared her too much to say it. Death usually followed such words. The human seemed completely unaware. Or completely fearless. Neither possibility made sense. Vealora stared at him. The court waited for execution. Something unexpected happened. The Empress blinked. Just once. Then she sat down again. "Interesting," she whispered. And suddenly the entire galaxy became a little more dangerous. Because nobody understood what she was thinking. Not even Vealora herself. His name was Ethan Cross. Officially, he was a diplomatic envoy from Earth. Unofficially, he was humanity's latest mistake. At least according to Commander Rax. The giant reptilian officer stood outside the throne chamber with visible frustration. "You were supposed to negotiate trade routes." Ethan shrugged. "I am negotiating. You flirted with the most feared ruler in known space." "Different strategy," Rax nearly growled. Every scale along his neck darkened. "You have no survival instincts." Ethan laughed. "Actually, humans are famous for survival instincts. That is not helping." They walked through enormous corridors carved from glowing crystal. Outside the transparent walls stretched the capital world of the Velari Dominion, a planet that controlled nearly 1/3 of the galaxy. And at its center ruled Vealora, the woman every civilization feared. The woman who had conquered 13 star systems before reaching adulthood. The woman known as the Iron Empress. Nobody knew why she tolerated Ethan. That mystery spread through the palace within hours. Servants whispered. Soldiers speculated. Nobles panicked. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Because Vealora should have killed him immediately. Yet she hadn't. And that terrified everyone more. Far above the planet, another figure watched events unfold. High Chancellor Zorvok. The most influential politician in the Dominion. And Vealora's greatest supporter. At least publicly. Privately he hated humanity. The old alien studied Ethan's file. "Primitive species," he muttered. "Emotionally unstable. Militarily insignificant." His assistant nodded. "Should we eliminate the human?" Zorvok considered it. Then smiled coldly. "No, sir. Not yet." He turned toward the stars. The Empress finds him amusing. His eyes narrowed. But amusement can become distraction. And distractions create opportunities. 3 days later, Ethan received a personal invitation. The entire palace erupted into chaos. Because nobody received personal invitations from Vealora. Nobody. Yet Ethan found himself standing beside the Empress on a balcony overlooking endless oceans of silver water. Neither spoke at first. The wind carried distant sounds from the city below. Finally Vealora broke the silence. "You are strange." Ethan smiled. "I get that a lot. You are not afraid of me." "No." "Why?" The answer came immediately. "Because you're lonely." The Empress froze. For the first time, genuine emotion appeared in her eyes. Not anger. Not authority. A deep pain hidden beneath centuries of power. "How dare you?" she whispered. Yet her voice lacked conviction. Ethan looked toward the horizon. You built walls around yourself. You know nothing about me. Maybe. He shrugged. But powerful people usually have two choices. Vealora stared at him. What choices? Become feared. He looked back at her. Or become understood. For a moment neither moved. The universe seemed to pause. Then alarms suddenly exploded across the palace. Red lights flashed everywhere. Emergency sirens screamed. Soldiers rushed through corridors. Warships launched from hidden hangars. Vealora immediately transformed. The vulnerable woman vanished. The Iron Empress returned. What happened? Ethan asked. An officer appeared, breathing heavily. Your Majesty. Report. The officer swallowed. A border colony has been destroyed. Vealora's eyes narrowed. By whom? The answer chilled everyone nearby. The attackers left no survivors. Except one. Who? The officer activated a hologram. A dying alien appeared. Blood covered his face. His final recorded words echoed through the balcony. They came from the darkness. His voice trembled. They were searching for something. What? The recording glitched. Then the dying witness whispered three terrifying words. The human signal. The image vanished. Silence followed. Every officer looked toward Ethan. Vealora slowly turned toward him. What is the human signal? Ethan's face lost all color. For the first time since arriving in the Dominion, he looked afraid. And that frightened Vealora more than anything. Because humans were not supposed to know fear this suddenly. Especially Ethan Cross. Yet he stared at the fading hologram like a man watching a nightmare return. Then he whispered something that changed everything. Oh no! The Empress stepped closer. What aren't you telling me? Ethan looked directly into her eyes. And for the first time his smile was gone. They found us. The stars outside suddenly seemed darker. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, something ancient had begun moving toward the galaxy. Yaprami Hey Bilkal is Cautionel name HY Universe Leak Kidu. They found us. The words struck the balcony like thunder. For the first time since arriving in the Dominion, Ethan Cross looked genuinely afraid. Not nervous. Not concerned. Afraid. Vealora noticed immediately. The human who had smiled at death itself now stared into the darkness beyond the stars. What did you mean? She demanded. Ethan remained silent for several seconds. Then he finally spoke. The human signal wasn't supposed to be discovered. By whom? His jaw tightened. Something older than any civilization in this galaxy. A chill spread through the gathered officers. Commander Rax folded his arms. You expect us to believe that? No. Ethan looked directly at him. I expect you to prepare. The confidence usually present in his voice was gone. That frightened everyone more than his words. Because humans were known for impossible optimism. If Ethan had lost his, then the situation was already worse than anyone imagined. Start from the beginning, Vealora ordered. Ethan nodded slowly. 300 years ago, Earth detected a strange transmission. A message. At first we thought it was random noise. He paused. But it wasn't. The balcony became silent. It was a warning. No one interrupted. A warning about what? Vealora asked. Ethan swallowed. Something that hunts intelligent civilizations. Several officers exchanged uneasy glances. Legends existed in every culture. Ancient monsters, ancient gods, ancient destroyers. But legends were supposed to remain stories, not become reality. Far away aboard his private station, Chancellor Zorvok reviewed the same report. The old politician listened carefully, then smiled. The human is afraid. His assistant nodded. Yes, sir. Interesting. Zorvok walked toward a massive window overlooking space. Fear means knowledge. Everyone else saw danger. He saw opportunity. It would become the greatest mistake of his life. Hours later, the Royal Council assembled. Representatives from dozens of species filled the chamber. Burned cities. Destroyed fleets. Fear spread through the room. Arguments erupted instantly. Pirates. No pirate fleet could do this. A hidden empire. Unknown technology. The debate grew louder. Then Ethan entered. Silence followed. Every eye turned toward him. Vealora sat upon her throne. Watching. Waiting. Tell them, she said. Ethan stepped into the center of the chamber. Ancient star maps appeared above him. These records were sealed by Earth. Murmurs spread immediately. Why? Because we didn't want panic. The hologram shifted. Cluster of stars appeared. Then vanished. Gasps echoed throughout the chamber. 27 inhabited systems disappeared. The image zoomed closer. Every world gone. What destroyed them? Someone asked. Nothing. Confusion spread. Ethan's expression darkened. They weren't destroyed. The hologram changed again. They were consumed. The room became silent. Consumed. The word felt wrong. Predatory. Hungry. Ancient. Ethan continued. The transmission warned us about an intelligence older than recorded history. One that moves between galaxies. One that feeds on advanced civilizations. Several council members laughed nervously. The idea sounded impossible. Then Ethan displayed another image. The laughter died instantly. Earth appeared. And surrounding humanity's solar system. Thousands of enormous objects floated in darkness. Watching. Waiting. Observing. For centuries. How old is this image? Vealora demanded. 212 years. The room froze. A representative stood. You knew something was watching your species. Yes. And you told no one. We wanted to avoid chaos. The chamber erupted. Accusations filled the air. Liars. Cowards. Traitors. Only Vealora restored order. What happened next? Ethan hesitated. Then answered. We sent a signal back. Silence. Complete silence. Rax stared in disbelief. You contacted them? Yes. Why? A faint smile appeared. Because the answer was pure humanity. Curiosity. Several aliens looked horrified. Vealora simply closed her eyes. Humans truly were insane. The meeting ended hours later. Nobody felt reassured. The human signal remained a mystery. The hunters remained unseen. And now the entire Dominion knew Earth had contacted them first. Later that night, Vealora stood alone in her private observatory. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass. The doors opened behind her. Ethan entered quietly. You should be resting, she said. So should you. Neither moved. Finally Vealora spoke. Why did humanity answer the signal? Ethan looked toward the stars. At the time humanity was still dreaming. Dreaming. About what existed beyond the darkness. His eyes reflected distant galaxies. We knew it might be dangerous. Then why answer? The answer came softly. Because fear has never stopped humans. Vealora remained silent. Humans confused her. Other species survived through caution, through calculation, through logic. Humans survived by stepping directly into danger. And somehow succeeding. Again and again. Made no sense. Yet humanity continued to rise. Perhaps Ethan was right. Perhaps humans truly were different. Then suddenly every light inside the observatory died. Darkness swallowed the room. Emergency systems failed. Communications vanished. Outside the glass, entire constellations disappeared. Not because the stars were gone. Because something enormous moved in front of them. Something so vast it blocked entire regions of space. Vealora's heart stopped. Ethan slowly turned toward the window. His face became pale. No, he whispered. A deep vibration rolled through the planet. The glass trembled. The floor shook. Then every screen inside the palace activated at once. Across the city. across the fleet, across every world in the Dominion. 3 words appeared. We heard you. Silence followed. Then a countdown appeared beneath them. 72 hours. 72 hours. No explanation. No demands. No warning. Only a timer. Every person who saw it felt dread. Because something was coming. Something ancient. Something powerful. Something that had crossed the darkness between galaxies. Vealora stared at the screen. What happens when the countdown reaches 0? Ethan didn't answer immediately. His eyes remained fixed on the message. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. Humanity never found out. Why? Ethan looked at her. Because every civilization that received the countdown disappeared. The room fell silent, and somewhere beyond the edge of known space, thousands of ancient eyes had already turned toward the galaxy. Because every civilization that received the countdown disappeared. The words settled over the observatory like ice. Vealora stared at Ethan. For the first time in centuries, the Iron Empress felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Not for herself. For her people. For her worlds. For the billions who trusted her to keep them safe. The countdown continued glowing on every screen. 71 hours 43 minutes and 12 seconds. 71 hours 43 minutes and 11 seconds. 71 hours 43 minutes and 10 seconds. Each second felt heavier than the last. What do they want? Vealora asked. Ethan shook his head. We never knew. You answered their signal. Yes. You studied them. Yes. Then there must be something. Ethan remained silent. That silence told her everything. Humanity knew almost nothing. And that terrified him. Across the Dominion, panic spread. News networks broadcast the message endlessly. Citizens filled evacuation centers. Religious groups declared the end of time. Military fleets mobilized. Entire worlds prepared for war. No one knew what was coming. Only that it was already close. Meanwhile, Chancellor Zorvok watched the chaos with growing interest. His assistant entered hurriedly. Sir, we recovered classified Earth files. Show me. Ancient recordings appeared. Scientists, military leaders, secret meetings, hundreds of years of hidden research. Then one final recording appeared. A human admiral spoke directly to the camera. His face looked exhausted, terrified. If you're watching this, they answered. Zorvok leaned forward. The admiral continued. We made a mistake. The recording glitched. They are not hunters. Confusion crossed Zorvok's face. Not hunters. The admiral's voice trembled. They are shepherds. The screen went dark. Silence filled the room. What does that mean? The assistant asked. For once, Zorvok had no answer. 20 hours later, the Royal War Council gathered. Thousands of warships surrounded the capital world. Planetary shields operated at maximum strength. Every military commander awaited orders. Vealora stood before a giant holographic map. No vessel enters Dominion space without authorization. The commanders nodded. Weapons authorized. Again they nodded. Then Ethan stepped forward. That's not going to help. Several officers glared at him. One slammed his fist against the table. You don't know that. Ethan activated a hologram. The destroyed colony appeared. Look closer. The image zoomed in. Warships floated intact. Buildings remained standing. Roads, towers, cities. Nothing appeared destroyed. Confused murmurs spread. What are we looking at? Ethan enlarged another section. Silence followed. There were no bodies. Not a single corpse. Millions of people had vanished. Without blood. Without damage. Without remains. The realization spread slowly. Then all at once. They took them, Rax whispered. Ethan nodded. They didn't kill the colony. They collected it. The room became silent. Collected. The word sounded far worse. Later that evening, Vealora found Ethan alone inside the palace gardens. Artificial stars glowed above silver trees. For a while neither spoke. Finally Vealora sat beside him. "You've known fear before." Ethan laughed quietly. "Many times." "No." She studied him carefully. "I mean this kind of fear." His smile faded. "Yes." The answer surprised her. "When?" Ethan stared into the distance. "When humanity first discovered we weren't alone." Vealora waited. "We thought meeting aliens would answer everything. Instead, it gave us bigger questions." The wind moved through the glowing leaves. "Humans fear monsters." He looked toward the sky. "But what scares us most is discovering we're not the biggest monster in the dark." For several moments neither spoke. Then Vealora did something unexpected. She reached out and placed her hand over his. Simple gesture. Yet Ethan looked genuinely surprised. "You're worried about your people," she said softly. "Yes. So am I." For the first time they weren't an empress and an envoy. Just two leaders facing the same nightmare. And somehow that made the darkness feel smaller. 31 hours remained. Then everything changed. An emergency signal erupted across the Dominion. A deep space monitoring station had detected movement. Massive movement. The War Council assembled immediately. The hologram activated. Gasps echoed throughout the chamber. Thousands of objects appeared. Each larger than a moon. Moving toward the galaxy. Moving toward them. Moving fast. No one had ever seen ships that large. No one had imagined such ships could exist. "Distance," Vealora demanded. 8 light hours. Shock spread instantly. That was impossible. Nothing should have crossed the void that quickly. Yet there they were. Approaching. Relentless. Ancient. Watching. Then another signal arrived. Not from the incoming fleet. From Earth. Ethan's eyes widened. Earth. The transmission opened. An elderly woman appeared. Every human in the room immediately stood. Even Ethan. Vealora noticed. Whoever this woman was. It mattered. "Blah." "Director Hayes," Ethan whispered. The old woman looked directly into the camera. "Attention all Dominion forces." Her voice remained calm. Far too calm. "We finally decrypted the last section of the original warning." Silence filled the chamber. Everyone listened. Director Hayes inhaled slowly. Then spoke the words that changed everything. "They aren't coming to destroy us." Confused looks spread. "What?" Hayes continued. "They believe intelligent civilizations are infected." The room froze. "Infected by what?" Vealora asked. The old woman's expression darkened. "Free will." Nobody understood. Nobody except Ethan. His face lost all color. Director Hayes continued. "They consider independent thought a disease. They erase cultures. They remove individuality. They combine entire species into a single collective consciousness." The silence became absolute. No death. No genocide. Something worse. The loss of self. The loss of identity. The loss of everything that made a civilization unique. Then Director Hayes delivered the final blow. "They call the process ascension." The transmission ended. No one spoke. No one moved. Because they finally understood. The countdown wasn't a threat. It was a schedule. And in 30 hours, the galaxy was about to be changed forever. Then suddenly every alarm in the palace activated. A new signal appeared across every screen. "Unknown vessels entering system." Vealora looked up sharply. The impossible fleet had arrived early. And the first ship was already descending toward the capital world. The first ship entered the atmosphere without resistance. Every weapon in the Dominion locked onto it. Thousands of warships. Planetary defense cannons. Orbital platforms. Enough firepower to destroy entire star systems. Yet nobody fired. Because the ship wasn't attacking. Simply descended. Only. Silently. Inevitably, the massive vessel settled above the capital city. Clouds parted around its enormous frame. Its surface shimmered like liquid silver. Ancient, perfect, unscarred by time. The countdown still glowed across every screen. 14 minutes and 23 seconds. 14 minutes and 22 seconds. 14 minutes and 21 seconds. Only minutes remained. Inside the Royal Command Center, tension became unbearable. "What do we do?" Rax asked. No one answered. Then a beam of white light emerged from the ship. A single figure appeared. A humanoid. Neither male nor female. Its eyes glowed with cold silver light. Every screen focused on the being. When it spoke, every citizen in the Dominion heard its voice. "Children of this galaxy." The voice sounded calm, gentle, terrifying. "We have arrived to end your suffering." Fear spread instantly. The being continued. "You call yourselves individuals. You call yourselves free. You call yourselves alive." Pause followed. "You are mistaken." The alien smiled. "Conflict, pain, loneliness. All consequences of individuality." The silver eyes scanned the crowd. "We offer unity. We offer peace. We offer perfection." Vealora felt her hands tighten. Beside her, Ethan stared at the screen. Silent, watching. The being extended one hand. "Join us willingly. Become one. Become eternal." Across the galaxy, panic exploded. Some citizens begged for protection. Others demanded surrender. Some even believed the offer. A universe without war, without suffering, without grief, sounded tempting. That was what made it dangerous. Then the silver being looked directly into the camera. Directly at Ethan. "We remember your species." The room froze. "We remember humanity." Ethan slowly stepped forward. "You know us." The being tilted its head. "Yes. For thousands of years." Every person present stared at him. Thousands of years. Humanity had barely entered the stars. The being continued. "You are the anomaly. You are the reason the signal was sent." Shock swept through the room. Vealora looked toward Ethan. "What does that mean?" The silver entity answered before he could. "Humanity was examined. Humanity was tested. Humanity refused integration." Silence followed. Absolute silence. The being's expression changed. For the first time, it looked uncertain. Humanity should not exist. Vealora felt a chill. The ancient civilization feared humans. Not armies. Not technology. Humans. "Why?" she demanded. The silver eyes focused on her. "Because they choose sacrifice over survival." Images suddenly appeared across every screen. Human firefighters entering burning buildings. Soldiers protecting civilians. Parents risking everything for children. Strangers helping strangers. Countless acts of courage. Countless acts of selflessness. The being continued. "These actions are irrational. These actions reduce survival probability. These actions should not exist." Ethan finally understood. Humanity wasn't special because it was stronger, or smarter, or more advanced. Humanity was special because it refused to act like a machine. The collective could understand logic, could understand efficiency, could understand power, but it could not understand love. And that frightened it. The silver being took one step forward. "We gave humanity a choice long ago. We offered unity. We offered perfection. And humanity refused." The room remained silent. Then Ethan smiled. Familiar smile. The same one he had worn in Vealora's throne room. "Yeah." He nodded. "We did." "Why?" The answer came instantly. "Because perfection isn't living." The being stared. Ethan stepped forward again. "Pain matters. Loss matters. Hope matters. Choice matters." His voice echoed through the command center. "You can't have courage without fear. You can't have love without loss. You can't have freedom if someone else controls who you become. Across the galaxy, billions listened. Humans, billions, soldiers, citizens, leaders. For the first time, they understood why humanity was different. The collective promised safety. Humans chose meaning. The silver being became silent. Then something unexpected happened. Step backward. Confusion spread across the room. What's happening? Rax whispered. The being looked toward Ethan, then toward Veolora, then toward the countless worlds watching. We calculate resistance probability. His voice sounded different now, less certain. Probability increasing. Across the Dominion, ships began broadcasting. Not surrender. Defiance. One fleet. Then another. Then hundreds more. Species that had hated each other for centuries stood together. Not because they were powerful. Because they wanted the right to remain themselves. The silver being watched the growing resistance. Then finally spoke. Humanity has infected the galaxy. Ethan laughed. You're welcome. For the first time in history, the ancient collective retreated. The giant ship rose into the sky. Then another followed. Then another. The impossible fleet began withdrawing. Not defeated. Not destroyed. Simply leaving. Because something had happened that it could not understand. Humanity had spread an idea. And ideas were harder to conquer than worlds. Moments later, the countdown vanished. The ships disappeared into the darkness beyond the stars. The nightmare was over. Now, weeks later, celebrations filled the Dominion. Worlds that once feared one another now spoke openly. All because they had faced extinction together. Veolora stood once again upon her balcony overlooking the silver oceans. Ethan joined her. Neither spoke for a while. Finally she smiled. You changed the galaxy. Ethan laughed. Not alone. No. She looked toward the stars. Not alone. The wind moved through the night. Peaceful. Quiet. Earned. Then Veolora turned toward him. You know. Yes. A rare warmth appeared in her eyes. The first day we met, I asked why you looked at me. Ethan grinned. You did. And your answer caused several nobles to faint. He laughed. Worth it. For the first time in centuries, the Iron Empress laughed too. A genuine laugh. Free. Human. An alien. Together. Far beyond the edge of the galaxy, the ancient collective recorded one final observation. A warning stored forever in its archives. Somehow, that makes them stronger than fear itself.